Now we can discuss about IMF. It is the part of economics. In that economics, we are discussing about the information regarding IMF. What is IMF? The International Monetary Fund, IMF means International Monetary Fund, is a major financial agency of the United Nations and an international financial institution headquartered in Washington, D.C., consisting of 190 countries. Address 700 19th Street, NW, Washington, D.C. to 20,431, United States. Where is IMF? IMF is there, we can say. And main organ is Board of the Governors. Founded July 1944, Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, United States. Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, Georgieva. And the founders are John Maynard Keynes, Harry Dexter White, and the staff is 2,400, and the subsidiaries International Monetary and Financial Committee more, and phone numbers are +1 202 623 7000. So hours is generally closes soon 5:30 p.m. opens at 9 a.m. Parent organization is United Nations. What does next point is what does the IMF do? The International Monetary Fund works to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for all of its 190 member countries. It does so supporting economic policies that promote financial stability and monetary cooperation, which are essential to increase productivity, job creation, and economic well-being. And the next point is who gives money to IMF. The IMF resources mainly come from the money that countries pay as their capital subscription when they become members. Each member of the IMF is assigned to a quota based broadly on its relative position in the world economy. What gives money to IMF? Countries can then borrow from this pool when they fall into a financial difficulty. Next point is what is the difference between World Bank and IMF? It is most important point. The World Bank group works with developing countries to reduce poverty and increase shared prosperity, while the International Monetary Fund serves to stabilize the international monetary system and facts and acts as a monitor of the world's currencies. Next point is what are the advantages of IMF? Benefits of membership: access to information on economic policies of all member countries, opportunity to influence members' economic policies, access to technical assistance in banking, fiscal affairs, and exchange matters, financial support in times of payment difficulties, increased opportunity for trade and investment. And the next point is how many countries are under IMF? IMF means International Monetary Fund. And what are the advantages of IMF? Access to information. Benefits of membership is access to information on economic policies of all member countries, opportunity to influence members' economic policies, access to technical assistance in banking, fiscal affairs, and exchange matters, financial support in times of payment difficulties, increased opportunity for trade and investment. Next point is how many countries are under IMF? Around 190 countries are there. So it is good and wonderful. The International Monetary Fund is an organization of 190 countries working to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, and facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth, and reduce poverty around the world. And the next point is which 7 countries are not part of the IMF. Rather than listing all 189 members, it is easier to list the countries that are not members. 14. The 7 countries, seven countries are there. They are not in IMF. That are not IMF members are Cuba, East Timor, North Korea, and Liechtenstein, and Monaco, Taiwan, and Vatican City. So the impact of that also, membership is not there to them, is also some their orientation and physical issues and laws and government policies also impact will be there. Who can apply for an IMF grant? Applicants must have established a record of effective performance and sound financial management. As reflected, for example, in recent audited financial statements, applications must also agree to report to the IMF on their use of grants received from the IMF. Next point is where has the IMF been successful? How Tunisia, Morocco, Jordan, and even Egypt became IMF success stories in the 1990s, just as European missionaries were the spiritual handmaidens of 19th century colonialism. So has the International Monetary Fund assumed a modern day mission in support of world trade, finance, and investment. Who controls the world economy? Next point is who controls the world economy? Although it is most important, IMF, who controls the world economy? Although governments do hold power over countries' economies, so their countries' economies, it is the big banks and large corporations that control and essentially fund these governments. This means that the global economy is dominated by large financial institutions. And next point is who controls the World Bank? It is most important. The organizations that make up the World Bank group are owned by the governments of member nations, which have the ultimate decision-making power within the organizations on all matters, including policy, financial, or membership issues. In the World Bank, almost all nations are members in this organization. So that is a safety to them and to the nation also. And how can I get IMF certificate? The applicant has to remit the non-refundable application fees of 5,000 rupees. The payment must come from the bank account of the IMF. Submit a copy of the qualification certificates of the ISP and his address proof within the state in which the IMF is provided to be registered. And next point is what is IMF giving together? With impact on both local and global scale, the program raises funds for disaster relief, organizes staff volunteering, awards charitable grants, and runs the IMF's annual giving campaign. Next point is how can I join IMF? Candidates are nominated by the authorities in their home country or through their nation's executive director at the IMF, highly experienced economists who can bring specialized skills to a specific short-term project at IMF HQ or in the field. The candidates are selected from rosters maintained by hiring departments. And next point is what is the rank of India in IMF? The rank of India in IMF is 13th, is the list. China ranks second, just after the United States in the quota terms of IMF. Which of the statements given above are correct? So, second is the China. China ranks second position and India 13th position according to their International Monetary Fund issuing also, fund volume also will be considered in this. And does India Next point is, does India borrow from IMF? Borrowing from IMF are not included under multilateral debt and are instead classified separately under the IMF head. As on 31st March 2021, India had a total multilateral debit of $69.7 billion. So likewise, these agreements will be there. So International Monetary Fund should be there. It gives so much of economic control to all nations, and they will get loans and benefits also by IMF comfortably with a good analysis by their economists. So all this give a safe to the world and safe to the nation. Wishing you all the best.